Hello folks, welcome back to the shop. It's the same day that I recorded the video for last Tuesday of that lantern back there, and after I was done recording that I had to run home, do a couple other things. So that's been burning for over an hour now. It's surging a little bit, but it's burning just fine. At home I'm gonna put some seafoam in it and light it again tonight, and maybe that'll help with that surging a little bit. But anyhow, this video is the second lantern that was Christmas present from my brother-in-law, and it is gonna be a little more of a project than that Coleman was. It is crusty. He said, I don't care if you just use it for parts or what. He said he bought both of these dirt cheap, so he just went ahead and picked it up, and it definitely is crusty. It's got mud dauber nests around the valve, or not valve wheel, but the wheel for the wick riser wheel. Mud dauber nest built all around that. There was more mud dauber nests there. There's nests of spiders and stuff down the bottom. Look in that glass. Look how much stuff is inside that glass. But when he said, oh, I don't care if you just use it for parts or whatever, I said, nope, I will take that apart, clean it up a little bit. I'm not going to get carried away, but I will get that lantern going again. The bottom of it looks good enough that I don't know. Yep, yeah. I thought that was a daub of solder on there, but it was just bug nest stuff. But there is, yeah, it's been soldered up in some spots on the bottom, so maybe one of the first things we'll have to do is, well, good God, now that I'm looking closer, there's solder on the front of it up there too, so maybe it's not quite as good as I thought it was. The cap that's on it is not the correct cap. They just got a cap that fits down over the top of where the cap was supposed to thread on there. But it is a Hibbard, Bartlett, and Spencer, and I know that they were made by different companies over the year, and I didn't get online to do the research to figure out exactly who made this one. It's not the same as your Hibbard, Bartlett, and Spencer over there. So they were made different times by different companies. But anyhow, let's go ahead and tear it apart and look and see what we've actually got here, and see, now that I'm looking at it closer, if we are going to make it work. There's a pretty fair chance that I might have to put sealer in the fount, and this time use much less than I did the last time, so it doesn't take 3 or 4 days to dry. But let's start by getting the screwdriver here and chipping away some of the mud dauber nests. Let me get the camera a little closer here.
And hopefully they're not in there.
Chip away some of the mud dauber nests here and see just exactly what we got underneath. OVB, that's the Hibbard, Bartlett, and Spencer hardware stores, their brand of lanterns, and I think they use that brand on some other stuff too, was OVB, that stood for Our Very Best. I'll snap a picture of it with my phone and edit that into the video. Number 2, so it's a number 2 size lantern. There's more mud dauber nests and debris on this side over here, and this is where it's been soldered before. see, I got these brushes out that I used in the last video. Maybe I'll just get one of the brass bristled brushes off of here. I'll go after it with that to start cleaning it a little bit. I'm not going to get very carried away with cleaning this up because it's in rough shape. It's one that you either use it for what it is like this, or would have to be completely restored because it's pretty rough. Hibbard, Bartlett, Spencer Company, Chicago. I'll try to get a picture that shows that too. But it definitely is pretty crusty. I would be pretty surprised the closer I'm looking at it now if it doesn't have some pinholes. I looked it over just about as good as I did that Coleman one when I was at my brother-in-law's house for Christmas. I pulled it out of the bag, gave it about a 30-second inspection, and put it back in the bag so that we could continue doing our family Christmas. That brass brush does pretty good knocking the loose stuff off of there. That's my mud dauber mud there. Ooh, that's a pretty good pile of stuff. Let's put that on the floor for Dad to sweep up next time he sleeps. Next time he sleeps?
Yep.
Next time he sweeps in here.
I'll probably be pretty soon.
Oh, I got that raised up. I was, as crusty as it looked, I was kind of concerned that that might be stuck, but it actually raises up and down pretty nice. There's all kinds of chunks of dirt and stuff falling out of there, but oof. That's a little more stuck. Let's see if we can just raise it up all the way and get the glass popped out of there. It's unmarked glass that's in it, but that doesn't mean it's not original. I'll go, oh here, I can dump that in that. Dump that in that Christmas bag. Oh, good God. Dump that in there, and I looked up in there. I don't know if I can get a
There ain't no burner
camera. Oh, no. The burner's fine. I'm looking up in there.
Oh my, there's a big nest.
Yeah,
in there.
big. There, I think I got it where
Well,
the camera
that burner
can see
looked
it.
like it was. No, it looks
No,
all
it's
right.
there.
Yep,
I just
fine.
can't get the thing to tip. But yeah, big old mud dauber nest up in there. This might actually be even worse than the one that I got that was full of mouse nests that Willis was out here and helped me. Oh, good God, there's more underneath there too. There's just mud dauber nests everywhere on this thing. She is crusty. Probably hung up in a barn or shed for a long, long time. Ooh, man, that is pretty stuck. The lever wants to move, but this is a rising cone burner, that whole base plate and cone and everything raises up together, so when it comes to the down position, I don't know if you'll be able to see it well, but it comes down and it's like almost a pressed fit to come down over top of there, and that is stuck. Scrape some of that stuff off the bottom. It's gross. So I'm going to see if I can get my screwdriver in there and maybe try to tap on that just a little bit and break it loose. There's no good way to get in there to pry on it, really. Need to get a small hand right here and just tap on it wherever I can get to it a little bit to try to break some of the rust loose. Get around here and try to get the camera pointed down so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. But right down in here, there's a lip right there, and the part that's on the left hand side of the screen right now is attached to the rising cone burner plate, and this part stays at the bottom, and they have to separate from each other. So I'm gonna have to get the two of them broke loose. Poor old thing is just awfully rusty. I might be able to get the screwdriver in there like that and kind of tap a little bit, get it to start moving just a tiny little bit here. Alright, that actually didn't take as long as I thought. I just kept tapping around it and I finally got the two parts of it there to separate from each other. And as crusty as it is, it does seem like it may eventually work for the lift mechanism. It's enough room to get in here and tip that over there, so we can get at the rest of the burner. It looks like there's a wick in it at least. Tap around there a little bit, try to get this burner kind of loosened up a little bit. Everything's pretty rusted together on this poor old thing. Kind of looks like there's no locking tabs on there, so where this burner goes down on there, it doesn't twist and lock into place. I don't see anything that looks like a locking tab on there to me. So that one probably just pops straight up off of there and just fits with a tight fit when you slide it down on there. Ooh, everything is stuck together on this thing. Well, once again, this might be a few minutes, so I'll pause the camera again until I get the burner off of there. And I was tapping on it, that cap that they've got on there that isn't correct.
Besides that,
Yeah, it's split out on the side. I've got some universal caps at home, aka corks. And sounds like that's what this poor old thing's gonna get if it turns out to be enough of it left here to try to make something out of it. Yeah, that poor old cap is just rusted away. Huh. Grab the borescope camera here real quick. Okay, let's have a look down inside of here. I mean, there's some rust in there, but there's a lot of bare tin metal in there. Oh, there's a wick. A lot of bare tin metal in there. That does not look, I don't know what that is over there in that far corner. It looks like a chunk of wick maybe. That does not look near as bad on the inside as I expected it to, that is for sure. That being said, I'd still be pretty shocked if it doesn't leak. My guess is we're going to have to put some seal all in here. But we got more work to do before we even get to that point. Alright, the burner cone's starting to come loose now. I've got it wiggling around a little bit. I guess it's not even the burner cone, it's just the burner, because the cone's attached to the plate. Right now it's come to the point where I just want to see if I can make this thing work. It's a challenge now to see if I can make this work. Interesting.
You have to turn it a little bit of a turn to...
Yeah, underneath of the burner cone. Let's get the camera around here. Underneath the burner cone where it goes in there, the stem goes into a lock. This side over here has the same thing, so that's going to have to turn a little bit.
Yep.
And believe it or not, it's rusted in place. But you can't take the, I don't know, burner cap part off without turning that. So that might require getting in there with some penetrating oil. I don't know. I was avoiding the penetrating oil at first because everything's just a oily mess once you start with that. But I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid it. The wick does want to move up and down a little bit, even though it doesn't want to turn very much, but it seems like it wants to move a little bit there. All right, we're gonna have to get the penetrating oil out. There's nothing I can do about it.
There's some WD here also.
Yeah, it'd be better if I had something with a straw, but neither one of these have a straw on them, so. Alright, I'm going to go over here over the floor drain and just spray a bunch of this down in there. Okay, I've had a slight change of plans here because I'm afraid I'm going to break that burner. It's just so, like when you try to move it, you can hear it from all the rust, and I'm afraid I'm going to end up destroying it. And I really want to try to make this lantern burn, even if it just still is a crusty, old, nasty looking lantern. I want to burn this lantern. So I got the wick riser broke loose. Get the camera over here where you can see it maybe. I got the wick riser broke loose. The wick goes up and down. There's a lot of wick in there actually, so I'm going to get a hold of the wick and kind of pull on it to help it along a little bit. Try to get this wick out of here. Oh geez, that wick's not as long as I thought it was. It'll still work though. This obviously isn't going to be a beautifully restored lantern when it's done. I just want to make this lantern burn. So we'll get that wick out of there. I'm going to tap this burner back down on there tight. Before I do that, actually, I'll raise it up as high as I can, and I'm going to get a blowgun, and I am going to blow this out as thoroughly as I can without taking it apart anymore, because I can't imagine there's not stuff in these burner tubes here. So, okay. I blew all kinds of stuff out of here. And when I had it flipped upside down, there was still more mud dauber nests way up here in the top of the chimney. We had to get a long screwdriver and reach up there. When I had it upside down shaken, this broke off. It's so rusty that right here about where my finger is, where it was supposed to be connected, well, the part of it is still connected in there. It just broke off. It's just completely rusted away, but I can still get it back in there and make it work well enough just to see if this poor old crusty lantern will burn or not.
You can tap that part down before you put that on there. It'd be easier to do.
Then that kind of opens it up to where I can get in here a little bit better and scrape a little bit more of the loose rust off of here. Poor old thing is just shot.
It's looking better though.
Most people would have just sent this one to the scrapyard, but
no.
we don't get rid of stuff. And to show you to the extent to which we don't get rid of stuff, the bail is missing on this. And I went out and dug around and found this poor old thing. It's just sitting in the backyard as a decoration on the back stairs.
It's got a wick in it though. You can
But
see the wick
yeah,
right through the
you
bottom.
can see the wick. But it's got a good bail, or a bail that's good enough. It matches the patina on this lantern, so we're going to rob the bail out of this one and put on this thing if we get it to work.
And that's one of the better ones like that. Some of them don't hardly have any bottom left on them.
Alright, so for right now, I'm going to tap this burner back down on here and get it back in place good. I blew a ton of stuff out of here, and with the handle gone, I was able to blow air right in through those holes, and I was getting air out the top and out the bottom. So it may be good enough to burn the lantern anyway. Okay, we're gonna dump, actually I don't even know if we got any denatured alcohol left out here.
A little bit in that can.
Dump a little denatured alcohol in here and see if, oh yeah, there's a splash left in there. See if
Not much more kerosene than that either, folks.
this thing just leaks like a sieve. Because if it won't hold fuel, all this stuff I'm doing is for nothing. So let's
Good practice though.
dump a little splash of this in there. Doesn't take too much, which is good because we don't have too much.
Yep, we're gonna have to get some more of that stuff.
Oh, I still got some in the big jug at home. I can refill that again. Well, surprisingly,
Don't look too wet, does it? Sure don't.
what in the heck?
That's all right.
I would have never guessed that. I'll kind of roll it around this way so it gets the sides all coated too, but
It'll be surely good enough to burn for a couple hours.
well,
That's all it's got to do.
I can't hardly believe that, but it's bone dry.
Yeah,
And there is enough in there to,
yeah.
when I'm rolling it around like this, it's coating all the sides of it. And that stuff comes through and you instantly would see a wet spot running down the side of it, or you'd see it getting dark if it was leaking anywhere. So somehow this thing miraculously holds liquid, which to me is just proof that it wants to live. So
You bet.
we got to bring it back to life. I may end up finding a different burner plate, and I feel like I might have a whole burner assembly for this at home, and if I did, I would feel better about being more aggressive about getting this one out of there.
What's the one look like on that porch lantern? Is it even there?
Yeah, it's a Dietz style though.
Okay.
It's not the same style as this. As a matter of fact, that's a Dietz style handle, which is probably not the correct shape of handle for this, but I'm not worried about
Don't
that.
tell anybody and it'll be okay. Oh, I see a wet spot on the thing there.
On this?
Yeah.
That's where I dumped it out through the
Ah, good.
fill spout when I was rolling it around. Yeah, I don't know how. I am truly surprised by that, but it's bone dry, so I am gonna go dump that little bit of denatured alcohol out of there, and we can start putting the wick back in here and put some fuel in here, and we're just gonna have to try to set this in place, kind of set everything together to make it work, and then I'll do a little more digging around. If I have a burner that's correct for that, and if we can come up with another bottom plate, maybe we'll get into this a little bit heavier in a future video. But for the sake of trying to see if it'll burn, I think I can dump that denatured alcohol out now. We can get the wick back in there,
You bet.
put some kerosene in here, set everything back together, and we're gonna see if this thing will light and burn. All right, I'll set this off to the side and let the denatured alcohol that's in there evaporate. Let's see if I can get the bale popped out of here. That was easy enough.
Yep. That's the next one we're gonna get going.
Yeah, that one, that needs a little more work.
Yeah, yeah.
She's seen her better day, that's for sure.
It might make a birdhouse.
That's about how good it is.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be a good birdhouse because all the rainwater just run right in through there. And it better be birds that like getting wet.
Oh, no, I'll build a house and just set it on there. It'll be okay.
All right, let's hit this real quick with this Scotch-Brite pad that's laying here. Whoop, get back here. good enough. It matches the patina of the rest of the lantern.
Yep. I might have cleaned the globe up too good.
Yeah, it does look awfully clean compared to everything else. Ooh, goodness.
Come on, baby, go in there.
There we go.
Yeah. Look at that, it'll even hold it up.
Well, I don't know. That poor thing, the little tab for
Well, don't pressure
holding it is pretty rusted off.
It stays up.
The one on this side's in better shape, so if we flex it a little bit, whoops, well there, I popped it back out of there.
Careful for the flexion.
Flex it a little bit like that. There we go. The one on that side holds it right in place like it's supposed to.
Looks good.
Folds down, doesn't get in the way of anything. That will work. All right, well, let's get the wick back in here. I think I'm gonna have to trim this wick off, and the trick for trying to get a wick started back down in there is just feed it in with the end that's already been burned. That's a little smoother and will often catch in there a little better.
Right there.
Get the old, it doesn't seem like, the burned end is a little less likely to fray, so you can stick it down through there and get the burnt end down in there a little easier than the non-burnt end sometimes. Trim that wick off.
That's getting right down in there, so you have to
Oh,
burn
goodness.
a half a tank.
I thought there was more wick than that showing in there when I put the... Good God. You know what?
We got a piece longer than
Yeah.
that.
I don't even know if that'll even reach down far enough once I'm holding it up there. By the time you put this back in there and it gets down, it's not even going to reach the bottom of the fount. So we got this piece of wick that I must have pulled out of some other lantern.
Out of another lantern. There's an
Let's-
extra one in the bottom of a lantern.
Let's trim it off and see if we can get it fed down in there. As a matter of fact, for no more than we're going to be...
Oh, that's fine. Put it in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to trim it off, but if it was a little bit longer, I'd make 2 wicks out of it, but it would make 2 of them that were just barely long enough to touch the bottom, so
Yeah.
we'll just leave it alone. Well, I trimmed that. I don't think I could make that any more crooked if I tried. That's a little better.
You just cut a week off of that thing.
I know. Good thing I'm not going to have to count on it for light. Now, this is going to be
Yeah, come on, baby.
fun to try to get poked down through there. There we go. Well, for as good as everything else on this is, it's probably good enough for now.
As good as it needs to be.
Now another thing is my universal caps are all at home. All my,
Have we got one out there that's got one in it?
no, because I think I stole it and it's in one that's at home.
Okay.
But I bought a whole thing off online of corks.
We can make a cork out of paper towels or something.
For right now, I'll just set what's left of this poor old cap back over it when we burn it, and then when I get home, I'll stick a cork in it. But
That'll work.
all right, kerosene time. In this poor old lantern that somehow doesn't just run the fuel back out like you're pouring it through a sieve.
Did you dump the stuff out of it?
Yep.
Okay.
Also, burning some kerosene through this might help that burner get broke loose, because the rusty parts will all soak up kerosene, and it works like a penetrating oil, and it'll heat them up. So after burning it, it'll heat cycle, warm and cool a few times. It might go a long ways towards helping that thing get broke loose in there. Well, that's plenty to burn it all night tonight, or all night at home tonight probably, so we'll call that good enough. I still can't believe that that's not just pouring fuel out of it. I thought for sure we'd have to seal all the fountain and...
So see, that's getting to be another one of our favorite lanterns now. Like every other one does.
That doesn't want to go on there any better than that, and I'm not going to force it because it's almost broke in half, but... Alright, we'll pause the camera for a few minutes, let that wick soak up. It's still bone dry. Let that soak some fuel for about 5 minutes, and then we'll see if we can get everything just set back together well enough to try and light this old girl. Well, while that wick was soaking up, I thought of this old kettle full of lamp parts and went out there because I was thinking of this particular burner. Well, it's the same burner, but it's roached. It's worse than the one I've already got. But I got down inside of there, and there is the other half of that burner, which is also the correct burner for this. So I can soak this in some evaporust or something and get that to come apart, and then I don't feel so bad about being a little more aggressive trying to get that apart in the future. But for today, we're just going to see if we can make it work with what's there. Okay, we got fuel in, the wick soaked up. I got that poor old rotted off piece of a cap that's not even right, just kind of sitting on there. Oops, I just dripped fuel out through that cap because it doesn't
clean up the font on that a little bit.
Doesn't hold anything, that's for sure. This poor old thing, it's rusted and broken. I think we're just going to have to kind of set it in place, and then I don't know. Maybe I need to just get this close to where it's supposed to be here.
Maybe get the glass in it before you light it.
Yeah, get this kind of close to where it's supposed to be and get the glass setting in there so I can light it, and then I can use my hand to try to guide it and tip it back down into where it's supposed to be. And we'll just light it up and see if the poor old thing will burn or not. And if it does, when I get home, I'll put a cork in it so that it actually will kind of somewhat hold a little bit of fuel. And we'll light it up tonight, and we'll let it burn until it burns all the fuel that's in here out of it.
Then it can hang up.
Yep. So let's give it a light here. We'll get the camera in a little bit closer. It's a good thing I'm getting done. My battery's getting low on the camera here. So let's give it a light up and then see if I can get everything folded back together and back into place here. Crank that down a little bit. It's going to burn funky till we get all the parts kind of sat in where they belong here, but just kind of help it into place. There we go. Just try to, there we go. Rock everything down into where it belongs here. And look at that.
That is neat.
It's burning.
Yep, that is neat.
It's burning kind of a feathery flame. Like the tubes might still have some debris in them, but
oh, it's burning pretty good.
But despite all that, the poor old thing
Look at it. It looks good.
is burning. Huh. I didn't even realize that till right now. See if we can get the camera in here to pick that up. H18. So it does have something embossed in the glass there. You got to get it right where the light reflects off of it, right? So that is an embossed glass. I don't know if it's a correct embossed glass for this particular lantern. Look a little closer at the other side of it here. Nope, I don't see anything else, but it is an embossed glass. That's kind of neat. Well, it's burning all right.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not perfect, but
That's what makes it nice.
look at the poor old thing. I would be shocked if it was perfect. So, I'll let it burn, and we'll burn this fuel out of it. I'll stick a cork in it so that it doesn't leak or get water in it or anything while it's hanging up. I don't think it's supposed to rain or do anything tonight anyway, but we'll hang it up at home on the hooks up on the pool deck, and I'll let it burn overnight, so I'll get a shot of this in the dark at home tonight too. Okay, folks, I got the old Hibbard Bartlett dispenser hanging up here, up on my pool deck on my lantern hanger. It's misting a little bit. The wind's blowing. Obviously, you can see the lantern swinging around. The wind's just kind of gusting through here every once in a while. But it's burning pretty good. I'm going to let it go all night tonight. Well, thanks for watching, folks. If you like the content we're putting out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. The best thing you can do to monetarily support our channel right now is just let the ads play when they come up. Thanks for watching, and come on back next week. We'll have a video or something here for you to watch.